This is the Yacht Lounge podcast. Welcome aboard.
When you think of Italian style, not fashion, but true era-defining style, a few objects probably come to mind.
Right, like a classic Ferrari or a perfect suit.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But today, we are skipping the road, and we're jumping right into the water to deep dive into the Riva Aquarama.
Ah, the Aquarama. I mean, it's so much more than just a boat.
It's a floating sculpture. It's the defining symbol of the Dolce Vita. So our mission today is to figure out how Carlo Riva took 120 years of family tradition and just transformed it into this object of pure desire.
A cultural icon. Yeah, and to really get how big a deal that was, you have to start with the name, Riva.
The history there is just immense.
It is. The whole saga begins way back in 1842. A man named Pietro Riva starts this small shipyard in Sarnico, right there on Lago di Seo.
And for a century, it was all about the basics.
Mastery of wood, mastery of water, just building good, reliable boats for fishing, for transport. Very practical.
And then, 4 generations later, we get to 1962. We get to Carlo Riva.
Right. And by this point, the family already had some real success. The tritone model was a big seller.
But Carlo, he was different. He inherited the company, sure, but he also inherited this maniacal obsession with perfection from his father, Serafino.
And he was absolutely determined that the next chapter wouldn't just be successful. It had to be unforgettable.
He really shifted the entire philosophy of how a boat was even conceived.
He did. He went way beyond just, building the mechanics. He brought in this almost poetic design vision. He saw the parts as elements of a living thing.
But wood wasn't just wood.
No, the wood was the boat's skin.
Yeah.
The motors, they weren't just engines, they were the heart.
So the whole boat becomes not just transport, but a way of living.
Exactly. Carlo knew his legacy depended on moving beyond just quality. He had to tap into pure emotion.
And the timing, 1962, was just perfect for that emotional connection.
It was a breakthrough moment for Italy. The country was no longer just focused on post-war rebuilding.
It had become the country of the dream.
Yes. Culturally, everything was speeding up. You had new highways physically connecting the north and south. Television was beaming these new ideas of leisure and style into every home. And of course,
Fellini.
His cinema was defining that glamorous, slightly reckless, Dolce Vita lifestyle for the entire world.
And if that was the film, then the set was absolutely the Mediterranean coastline.
The stage, yeah.
We're seeing this rise of a new kind of aristocracy. Not about birthright, but about style.
It's about self-assurance.
You've got Brigitte Bardot in Saint-Tropez, who just embodies this new casual freedom.
Yeah.
You have Gianni Agnelli in Portofino setting the standard for Italian elegance.
And Sean Connery, James Bond himself, being discovered in Antibes. It proved that real luxury wasn't loud, it was quiet, it was confident.
And Carlo Riva understood this cultural moment perfectly.
He really did. Owning a Riva wasn't about showing off your money. It was like an instant pass into this invisible but totally recognizable circle.
The people who chose discretion over noise.
Substance over flash. Exactly. They weren't just buying a boat. They were buying an extension of their lifestyle. And Carlo was the architect of that extension.
That deep personal connection, it leads us right to how the Aquarama was actually born. The prototype process.
Right. He takes a previous model, a tritone, number 214,
and he renames it Lipicar, which is such a personal name.
So personal. It's a mix of his daughter's names, Leah and Pia, and his own, Carlo.
And this boat, Lipicar, it wasn't hidden away in a factory. It was a living laboratory.
A relentless one. He used it for technical testing on the lake. He used it to, win over his most important clients.
But most importantly, it was the family vacation boat.
That's the key. He personally tested every detail, every comfort, every potential flaw on himself and his family.
And that's where the big innovations come from, that personal use.
Absolutely. Take the sun deck.
Well,
on the old boats, it was just a cushion you could only use when you were anchored.
Not very practical.
No. But Carlo, he was thinking about his daughters, about their safety and comfort while the boat was moving. So he engineered this new sun deck as a protected space over the engine bay.
A space you could use even at high speed.
Yes. It's been described as a literal gesture of love.
I just find that amazing that one of its most iconic aesthetic features was actually driven by this really pragmatic, fatherly impulse.
It was. And other things came from that time on Lipicar, too. He separated the front seats for more freedom of movement.
Makes sense.
He redesigned the whole stern area. I mean, it's the focus when you're swimming. He added an anti-slip passage to make it easier to climb back on board.
It's all about eliminating friction, making every moment a pleasure.
Yes. And then, of course, there was the mahogany.
His obsession.
A total obsession. He personally selected every single plank. He supervised the polishing until the wood looked, well, it looked liquid under the sun. This wasn't carpentry for him.
It was sculpture. So all of that work, all that obsession, it culminates in the official launch. November 1962, at the International Nautical Show in Milan.
And the name he chose was just genius. Aquarama.
Evoking Cinerama, right? The panoramic movie screens.
That was the idea. The boat's wraparound windshield literally embraced the pilot, creating this panoramic view. The suggestion was that your life, seen from the helm of this boat, was the most spectacular film you could ever star in.
And the specs, they absolutely backed up that promise. We're talking 8.02 meters of pure seduction.
The mahogany dashboard, that personalized Chrysler steering wheel.
The folding soft top. The Capote Mantis, they called it. The leather interiors. Every detail just whispered luxury.
But that whisper had a very powerful roar underneath it all.
The technical heart.
2 Crusader V8 engines, 185 horsepower each. It could push the boat up to 40 knots.
But like you said before, it wasn't just the speed, it was the sound.
It was this deep baritone rumble. A sound that was truly inconfondibly unmistakable. It announced the Aquarama's arrival long before you could actually see that shining hull.
And the reaction was immediate.
Decisive. 21 units sold in 1963 alone.
And it just immediately became this silent protagonist of the Dolce Vita. The sales were one thing, but the photos of all those stars on the back of an Aquarama, that's what made it an icon.
And the deep appeal was that it was theater, not just a way to get from A to B. So Carlo wasn't just selling an object, he was selling an emotion. He was selling the idea of who you could be.
You're choosing substance over show.
Right. And the way they were built is so key to that substance. They called it industrialized craftsmanship.
Which sounds like a complete contradiction.
It does. But it's that Italian paradox. The industrialized part meant every single component was standardized, maniacally controlled for quality. A bolt from a 1965 boat would fit a 1985 boat.
So engineered reliability.
Exactly. But the craftsmanship part, that meant the finishing, the sanding of that mahogany, the stitching of the leather, that was all still done entirely by hand. Bespoke.
The best of both worlds.
The absolute best. These were objects designed from day one to be passed down through generations.
Which explains why it was produced all the way until 1996. Something like 769 examples in total, across a few different versions.
Super special and lungo, yeah.
But we have to talk about the exception, the one-off that kind of broke the rules.
Ah, yes. The 1968 Aquarama Lamborghini.
What a machine.
He just perfectly shows the kind of relationship Riva had with its clients. Ferruccio Lamborghini wanted something faster, something unique.
So Carlo Riva said, okay.
He obliged. He installed 2 massive 350 horsepower V12 engines straight out of a Lamborghini 350 GT road car.
Making it the fastest Riva ever built.
By far. It was this technical marvel that really pushed the boundaries of discretion. I mean, it was still a shining, elegant boat, but the sound it made, it was operatic.
That's a great story. But the core legacy, it always comes back to that quiet elegance.
It does.
You hear that sound of an Aquarama entering a port today, and time just seems to stop for a second.
It really does, because Carlo Riva wasn't just building boats. He was building the reflection of an idea.
An idea that true luxury is about precision, not about being loud or showing off.
And that true style is all about substance, self-confidence.
And I think what we learn from this deep dive is that truly great design, the kind that lasts, the kind that becomes timeless, it's always rooted in love, in obsession, and this belief that for the work.
Beauty was the only way.
That deep, unmistakable rumble of an Aquarama leaving the dock. It just carries Carlo Riva's lifelong mantra for anyone who chooses that way of living.
Not for appearing, but for truly living.
And as you move through your day, maybe you can consider what object in your own life truly embodies that same idea, that timeless, shining perfection. Is it rooted in precision? Does it whisper substance? It's something to keep with you, long after the dog lights fade.
Join us on Substack, where Yacht Lounge continues.